Hey everyone, it's Dawn here. Thanks for joining me today. I just realized my microphone wasn't on. Thanks for joining me. Katie is coming in a minute. She's trying to rally her puppy, get the puppy inside. We know how that goes with puppies. Oh, here she is. Hey, Katie, we're live.
Hey.
Hi. How's the puppy?
Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yes.
Oh, she's great.
She's great.
Okay. I just love her. I love her, Dawn. I get it, like how people say, like, you know, animals become family, and I just love this darn little puppy. But she didn't want to come inside, so.
Yeah, it's very hard when they don't want to come inside. So we're already live. I did the intro. Perfect. I was just saying hey to everyone, and we have a few people in the live chat already, so thanks for being here.
Hey.
So if you're just joining us for the first time, this is the second installment of what I think will be a 10-part series. It depends on how we roll. And Katie and I are, you know, we're not experts or anything. We're just giving our impressions of the interrogation or interview, you may call it, of Wendi Adelson right after she was informed that, well, she was pulled in from having lunch with her girlfriends and informed that her ex-husband was just shot. So we went through the first approximately 45 minutes because it was just too juicy to put down. And so we're gonna pick up where we left off. So if this is interesting to you, feel free to just go to the playlist and look at the last two episodes. I did one on my own, one with Katie, and there I put out a bunch of shorts over the weekend too, and kind of flooded YouTube with shorts of this because there's so many little priceless nuggets. And somebody did comment and said, well, I want to know more. Well, that's the idea of shorts. So just subscribe and you'll learn everything you want to know right here, especially if you participate in the live chat or in the comments. But we're always looking for extra guests too. So if this is something interesting to you, for sure, jump on because we're interested in hearing what other people have to say. So yeah, Katie, so after we did our first episode, did you find yourself thinking about this at all, or do you have any anything you want to add before we start with the next segment?
No, I'm just so excited to see what's happening next.
What happened?
It's so crazy. It's just, I don't know.
It's so crazy.
She had to know. I just keep thinking she had to know.
Do you think she knew that the officers saw her take a look around the neighborhood? You don't think she saw?
No, I don't think that. Nope.
Why do you think that she didn't see it?
I don't know, because they're not letting on to that at all, and I don't think she's letting on to that.
Well, she
said that she was there, and she explained why she was there, but I still think that was all just part of her details.
Sure, she was ready with those
saying
details.
Where she is, why she's where she is. More of the alibi that we were talking about.
Yeah, because she would have known that at least her main phone would be accessed, and so all of her locations would be easy to find. And so she had, you know, it's interesting, an explanation for everything, right?
Everything.
Well, the reason I brought the reason I brought that up is because when she was kind of looking at her body language, I'm by no means a body language expert, but I'm kind of looking at that too. I like to mostly focus on what people say, but she was, you know, and this and this and this and this and this and that. She was very animated and putting the palms out, implying animating honesty. It's not, you know, there are no such rules with body language, so I'm not going to say that, but she kept putting her palm. I looked at it again. It's like the palms up, and the hand language. And this could be just her, you know, her baseline, as it's called, but we don't know that yet. And I don't, you know, we'll find that out more as we look at testimony and things later on. But as other interrogations and other material I'd like to look at from other cases too once we get through these. It's been kind of just so much out there. So, yeah. So, all right. And I understand, did Judy get in touch with you?
Just that one email so far.
Okay, Judy, the YouTube lawyer, is gonna maybe do a little collab with Katie. That'll be great to watch, and that's about the Syed situation, which everyone has thoughts about. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So where we left off was, and in the interrogation, it's about I think I made note of 3 o'clock and 39 minutes. So 3:39 p.m. This is Tallahassee time on July 18th, 2014, the afternoon that Dan Markel unfortunately was shot. He was lying in the hospital, still alive during this entire interview, which is baffling, which gave me so much anxiety when I first saw it. It was like, it's still baffling. And he wasn't even shot until later on in the morning. So it was like, I can't remember the time, but 10:30 or 11, because remember she had said, oh, I had lost my voice for several days and I couldn't speak to him until 10. Well, first she said it was 10:30. And then she said, when we looked up on the phone, I don't know who we are, it was 11:15. Now she might've been, I'd have to look at the interview again if she was referring to her and the investigator, or if she was saying, we looked it up because I showed you that was the time. Sure. Because she was so prepared for everything, or if she was saying, we looked it up before I got here. And that might have been a slip. I don't know. There's a lot of things she says that can be a slip too. Yeah. So take a look at my shorts too, and during the week, and see what you think about some of those, because I isolated some things that were like, what do you think? So yeah, so let's get sharing the screen here. And again, this is from Mentor Lawyers contribution. It's the full interrogation of Wendi Adelson, and I'm going to share.
Do you think that the police saw her? Like, she knows that the police saw her?
I think she either knew or thought they would, like, presumed there was a good chance.
Okay.
Which kind of puts you in the same mindset. Like, well, maybe they didn't, but let's just go with what if they did, and prepare my answers.
Okay.
That way. I don't think she necessarily knew, but he did. It didn't come out until during the trial, I believe, that they did see her. Okay. So at this point, I don't think she would have had any way to know either way.
Okay.
So I'm going with
but she still had to have an excuse for if they did see her.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. So as prepared as she was with everything else, then she was that prepared for the probability that, or the possibility that they might have seen her.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you think her excuse for being there is valid? Or do you think she drove there to see if it had happened yet because she knew it was going to be happening?
Because she said it was a shortcut. And I don't know if you remember this or not. The detective said a shortcut, like right away, because he knows the area just as well as she does. It's not a shortcut, and you wouldn't have any way of knowing that, but we know that. And there's actually a map that a couple people have put out, some graphics that are pretty good. So I'll reference that maybe in one of the shorts, but or just in the show notes here if you want to see that graphic. But it is by no means a shortcut.
Okay.
She said it was a shortcut, but the interesting thing is she also later said, I go down there as often as I can just because I'm just trying to deal with the divorce and this and that, right? Which we know is doesn't line up with her actions from the time she initiated the separation to the entire battle for custody and wanting to move away and all that. So it really doesn't line up with what she was saying to all of her friends, basically publicly up until that point. So just so you know, since you're fairly new to this case, it is not a shortcut. It is by no means a shortcut. Okay. She did later then say, well, I go down there, it's memories and that kind of thing. And which is actually less plausible in my opinion than it being a shortcut. Some people take routes because even if it's not a shortcut because they think it is or something like that. But this one doesn't seem to be that case. They would also be able to see how many times she went down there. I don't know how many phone records or what dates the subpoenaed, but they could also see if that's actually true or have corroborating witnesses say whether that's true or not.
Okay.
One more thing here, and maybe we can go through the interrogation of Jeffrey Lacoste, but the one of the guys she was dating at the time said, I think he said we only went down there once together. Driving.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. Let's let her rip. So we're at 337. He's giving I've got it on fast. He's giving her here we go. He's gave her the Miranda rights, and now the advocate will come in. I think it's an advocate. I can't remember what this person is. She's over using the restroom right now. And then we'll have a new character. This isn't fiction. This is reality. I don't know what else to call it, but a character, but a new person will come in and start chatting with her. We're at 342. Let's go a little bit. Here we go. By the way, does she look like she's dressed for lunch? Like when I go to lunch with my friends, like my nails are done, my hair's done, and I'm not. And by the way, her owl t-shirt is a fascination to a lot of people, and that'll come up later.
Okay.
She's got an owl on her t-shirt. But yeah, she doesn't look super put together for a lunch with girlfriends.
No.
So
as far as I'm concerned.
I think the school ends at like 5.
Okay.
But I usually pick them up early. Danny probably told him he was going to take him to Truesdale today, so we'll be expecting earlier. But 5, it would be.
That's what time they close?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll stay open.
Okay. Okay.
They were supposed to be with me this week, so normal for them, other than this swim bit, would have been to spend the weekend with me and.
Where did they sleep last night?
With Danny.
With Danny.
Yeah.
Okay. So Danny took them.
I got a call. So he has an alarm system in the house, and I must still be on the call list for people if there's a break-in. I got a call yesterday. I guess it'll be on the phone when it happened. I got a call from like the company with the alarm company that said like the alarm's been triggered, it's gone off. There's another family in town that we're really close with. The woman's name is Lynn, and she's on the list too, so she got a call. I know this because I saw her yesterday evening. I went to a friend's art gallery thing, and she happened to be there. It's a small town, and she said, "Oh, I guess I got a call from Trescott," and I said, "Oh, I got the same call." I said, "But I just figured it was fine." So they called yesterday, and I don't remember what time it was. Maybe the.
Okay, so, and by the way, say pause anytime you want, Katie. So her kids are with Danny.
Last night.
During the time she's discussing getting a security call and thinking, oh, it's okay.
And that's in like a gated community? Is
not gated. Just his
so the
home.
Security call though is coming from his house?
Yeah, evidently.
And the neighbor got the same call?
Evidently the neighbor's on the list of who to call from the alarm company. You know how you have people to call if something. Yeah.
And there's zero concern. Everything's
zero
fine.
Concern. I was at this art gallery thing and I figured it was just fine.
And the kids are there.
The kids are with Danny that night.
Sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No concern. Okay.
I figured it was okay. I just find it really interesting when she uses her hands and when she doesn't.
Morning, maybe the evening, but it happens sometimes, every once in a while with weather, whenever the alarm gets triggered, so I didn't think anything of it. But I wonder if there was like an attempted break-in yesterday.
I don't know. I'll have to check into that. Do you know what the alarm company is?
So now it's another excuse. Sorry, pause.
Uh-huh.
It's another like possibility of who could have done this.
Right.
Because at one point it was like their friends, or it was suicide, or it was, I don't even remember anymore. So it's
Her
just
brother,
another,
her family, her friends. Yeah.
so now it's another possibility.
There we go again.
It could have been an attempted burglar that happened last night, and he came back to finish the job. Or
right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Which I'm not 100% sure, and maybe those watching can let me know. But I think that there wasn't anything on the alarm records, so that might have just been I'm not 100% sure on that. Hey, Legally Antoine, and we back. Yes. Okay. So this part is interesting. I didn't look at the first 45 minutes is just full of nuggets. So this one I'm not as familiar with, so I'm dying to hear what your thoughts are. And Legally Antoine, let us know what you're thinking. Antoine, do you remember if the detectives said in any of the trials that in fact there were no records of an alarm being triggered on Trescott the night before? Let me know in the comments if you know the answer to that.
Probably deleted it, but then I didn't delete my deleted messages, so if you look at deleted, you could find it.
Okay.
If not, I could probably figure it out, and Lynn could tell you.
Okay.
If you had to ask her.
That was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
But no calls today.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the children sleep the night before? Did they can stay with Danny right along?
Yeah, except week on, week off, but with Wednesday overnights. So Wednesday night they were with me.
When you say Wednesday overnight,
Wednesday, it means like if it's a mommy week, then
right.
They're with you all week. Except Wednesday night they'd go to Danny.
Okay.
If it's a Danny week,
right.
So they're with them all week except Wednesday night they came to me.
All right, and then so Wednesday night
that's the last time. I didn't tell you this, but I thought about it in the bathroom. I didn't have an interaction with him, but that's the last time I saw him was Wednesday. I picked up the kids and I was going to take them to Whole Foods.
Okay.
And I saw Danny working on his computer in the window of the Whole Foods, and I took him to BurgerFi instead.
Oh.
Because he and I were, divorced,
right.
And interactions with him were hard. And it was my one day with the kids, and I thought, well, if we go inside, it's going to be like all of us together, and I wanted time by myself with them. So I took them, but that's the last time I saw him. So I saw him sitting there Wednesday afternoon working.
He was inside Whole
Okay,
Foods.
so pause.
Okay.
So somebody is just like, hey kids, there's your mom, bye. And like, there's no interaction between the parents during the pass off.
Okay, say one more time.
Okay, so there's no interaction between the parents during the pass off of the children. Just Danny's in Whole Foods or wherever it is, working on his computer, and the kids just go to their mom, and there's zero interaction between the two of them.
I think what she was saying is that that was mommy night, or she had them.
Okay.
They went to get us something to eat, and they saw him at Whole Foods, and so she decided not to go to Whole Foods, to go to BurgerFi or whatever she called it instead, to avoid seeing him, which is nice.
Okay.
Yeah, but they saw their dad sitting there and all that. And she's saying that's the last time she saw him, because he had asked, when's the last time you saw him? And she got all over the place with the last time we spoke and all that. So,
yes.
And yeah. And yeah, and during a nasty divorce, as Antoine's bringing it up, sure, that could be the case. Could also be consciousness of guilt, because she knew what was going to happen. But we don't know. What do I know?
We don't know.
Yeah. But it doesn't come off as the same kind of person who's driving down that road just because the memories are so nice. Those two things don't seem to balance out for me. Oh, I just, I'm sad, and sometimes I go down there, and it's a nice house, and remember, oh, what a nice house we had together, and what, And so she flips back and forth with that narrative. Which is it? I mean, people are complicated. They can go between narratives like that. No problem. Sure. But in this context, it's, I don't know. It just makes me not trust her. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, so this computer, like, writing.
And the kids came out?
The kids didn't see him. We
Okay.
were just about to enter. I saw him. I thought, oh, my one day with the kids, you know, and so I went and got burgers instead.
Okay, all right. So then Thursday,
I got a call.
you got called about the alarm. Had you had any contact with the kids during that time?
On Thursday, I had them Wednesday night. I brought them to school on Thursday, and then, no, not after I dropped them off.
Okay.
And there's a record at school of like when you log in, so I probably dropped them off a little before 9, but they could tell you what's in it.
All right, and then, so then he kept them last night, Thursday night, and then he would have driven them to school. What time does he normally drop them off at school?
It varies. Sometimes he has breakfast with them. I got the call from him. It was 9:04, I think. So he must have already just dropped them off and was probably driving from school to the gym, and that's why he was saying, "Going to this class. I'll touch base with you after."
And then no contact after that.
We had some texting contact. That's what I was saying, that my last contact wasn't very nice. I was saying, well, I wanted to pick them up at 3, and he was saying, well, you are only allowed them after 4:30. And I was like, well, what about last week? I picked them up at 5, and he said I was just being nice. And I said, I guess nice was fun while it lasted.
Okay. His parents, his family, do you have contacts for them in your phone?
I have contacts for at least one of them.
Okay.
I think I've been recently deleting them just because they don't call me. But at least one of them, I can tell you, like, I don't know whether it's his dad's name. His parents are actually recently divorced.
Okay, we'll get the phone, when we get the phone back, you can supply those numbers.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll attempt to contact them.
Oh my God.
Find out where they're at, who's in Canada.
It's just the worst thing you could have. Okay.
No, I gotta ask you something, okay?
Yeah.
Do you own a gun?
No.
Have you ever owned a gun? Have you ever fired a gun?
I think I went skeet shooting about 12 years ago.
Okay, nothing since then.
Okay, just take note of when she says no and her head shakes no like a normal person who's being honest. And then when she's trying to look for an answer, did I ever fire a gun, you know, where she looks for her recall up, whether it's to the left or right. And because we'll see later on, not just in the interrogation or earlier on even, and then also in testimony, how that changes. And that's why I'm taking note of when she uses her hands and not. So just in case anyone's wondering why I'm going on about that.
Then, is Danny on the gun?
Not that I know of, but maybe since I left. He didn't own a gun when I was with him.
Never had a gun around, or
No.
did you ever talk about buying a gun or anything?
He would talk about it, but he's a criminal law professor.
Right.
So sometimes he would talk about things just like
Okay.
to have a discussion about, like, should we have a gun in the home? Is it dangerous? As far as I knew, there was no gun in the house.
Okay. You don't know anybody that you owe money to? You don't know anyone? I know, besides you, but it was, and that was under court order. I'm
It's, yeah, and we have lawyers. He very much respects, as do I, the legal system, you know, so it was working its way through.
Okay.
Anyone who's listening, was it actually determined that Dan owed her money at this point? I know she was trying, and there was, because we read through this with Judy, the YouTube lawyer. But quite frankly, do you think she's really in a position to say he owed her money, and now it's twice she said that he owed her money? Yeah. And so for anyone who's listening, you know, even if you're replaying, if you're replaying, hi, remind me, and also Katie, because she's newer to this, whether he really did, was it established or not? Just for Katie, for your benefit, it wasn't a court order. It hadn't happened yet. There was still a few things up in the air. There was more actually on her side of taking marital money, taking possessions. So where she came up with this, he owes me money twice now up until this point. Now we're at 3:50. So we're in an hour and 5 minutes from when this video started. Is kind of interesting that she's hanging on to that, even though it's not really.
And it didn't have something to do with the house.
Yeah.
Something that she was saying that.
Yeah. And it's just kind of like, yeah, for her to state that, it really, maybe if she was, I don't know, I could say, well, we were trying to work that out. We were trying to work out things. We're in the process of that. In addition to the whole, I wanted to move to Miami thing, which is not exactly how she put it. So, yeah.
Anyone he owes money to, I mean, he doesn't gamble, he doesn't drink, he doesn't have any vices, he doesn't do anything weird. I can't imagine. I mean, I think he annoys people with his like legal academia, but I think like in the ivory tower here, not like, I don't think he owed money to anyone, I can't imagine.
Okay. I mean, unless you have something I can't think of, I'm looking for some reason that someone would want to hurt him.
Not just hurt him.
Right.
I mean,
I know, but the intention.
I could see one of my friends wanting to shake him.
Right.
God, no. I don't know who would do this. And I'm very scared because I don't understand why this would happen. He and I got along fine for the sake of the kids. You heard the message where he was like, well, maybe we'll just take a walk around school. And
Right.
I mean, I found him hard to be around, but so did a lot of people. They all knew he meant well. He was a decent, good human being. He wouldn't hurt anybody. He would never do this to anybody. I don't know who would want to hurt him like this. I really don't.
Okay, so pause.
Okay.
I
Yeah, there's a lot there.
There is so much there.
Okay.
So
What?
Is he a good guy or is he not a good guy?
Right.
Because we're going so much back and forth. Like, yeah, I'm sure he annoys everybody, but I can't think of anybody who would do this to him. Except my friends. I mean, they'd want to shake him, but they would never kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? I don't know. I'm so lost again.
Right. I think that's the point, right? She's bringing the detective down all kinds of different. And Antoine says, one of her friends, his name was Charlie, in parentheses, wanting to murder him. Yeah, shaking is violent, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
that came off her tongue pretty easily, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And is she talking about her friends or is she talking?
She's talking about her
mom or brother.
She was talking about her friends in that case. Well, why is that, Wendi? Have you been slandering him all year? Like, why would they feel so strongly? That I'm like, she's admitting to,
because they've all seen him treat her terribly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he's such a good guy. No, I can't think of anybody who would want to do this to him.
And he wouldn't do it to anyone.
No.
What's that? Like that one I missed before. It's like nobody thinks he did it to anyone. He was murdered. Like what?
Yeah.
What?
It's not retaliation for anything.
So maybe she's thinking, I wouldn't do that to anyone. I keep going back and forth to, well, she probably knew it was going to happen, but she didn't maybe know exactly when it was going to happen. And reality is, I mean, now maybe she's coming to grips with, oh gosh, I did this, or I was part of this. Maybe. So we can be all over the place, and yeah, and people can have two sides to them, more than multiple sides. But and Antoine says, sounds kind of like the shank, the makeshift gift prison weapon. Okay. Yeah. And he also mentions, how she respects the legal system so much.
Yes, that was a weird comment too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, you're a lawyer, I would hope. So that would go without saying.
Yeah.
I mean, that would go without saying for most people, citizens, much less a lawyer. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's did you notice when she breathes in with all of her did you notice sometimes she does that to prepare to answer? It's like, it hurts so bad. For dramatic effect, just take note when she goes like she's crying so bad, so it's like, and she makes this face, it's like it's so awful, but she does it at certain times.
I'd ask you, was your divorce that you said before had nothing to do with infidelity, no extramarital affairs or anything like that?
Neither one of us.
It was just simply the fact that you all just didn't get along anymore, or was it just the fact that he was belligerent to you?
He never hurt me physically, but he was emotionally abusive.
Okay.
And I didn't tell most people that, so all most people know is it just didn't work out.
What? I didn't tell most people that, but all my friends want to shake him. Okay.
And it's just
wow.
Kids are young, and this is just better this way. So other than my family, who saw the way he treated me, most people were, well, I think his family was very surprised. He told everyone around the community that I was mentally ill because only a crazy person would leave him. And so there's a lot. But who would, so that, I mean, that's it. The circumstances, plain and simple, where it just wasn't a really healthy marriage. And I thought it'd be better for the boys if they didn't grow up thinking that's the way you treat women. But he didn't hit me, he didn't hit them. He didn't have a drug problem. He didn't gamble, he didn't cheat on me. I didn't cheat on him.
I didn't cheat on him. Nobody asked that, but okay.
There's no other.
By the way, she said that twice, and that's actually not necessarily the truth.
I keep thinking the only unknown I can think of is Amy's ex-husband. Is he still in the picture? Is he upset?
Right.
Danny, I defriended him from Facebook because I found it too upsetting to see intermittent pictures of the kids. But I wonder, he's very, very public on Facebook about
She defriended him because she found it upsetting, but she drove by his house all the time.
Because of the memories.
Which is it?
Yeah.
Where he is, when he's traveling, where he's going. And so I wonder if he's got pictures up of him and Amy, and if there's a jealous ex-husband in the...
You know where this ex-husband would be?
He'd be in New York too.
Is he also an attorney?
I don't even know his name.
Okay.
I just know they when Amy came down here, they went over a mutual friend of ours. It's a guy that works at the law school. This guy Jay and his wife Dory is a good friend of mine, and they have kids my kid's age. And I said to her, I remember saying, so what's she like? She met her before I did, and she said, she's really nice, and she's very sweet, and she's recently divorced too, so she knows how awkward all of this is to meet the new person.
I mean, that sounds so well adjusted. It's awkward, it's this and that, but then she goes from, oh, I'm so sad about it, so I drive by his house all the time, but then I defriended him from Facebook because I saw pictures of the kids. You would think she'd want to see pictures of the kids. I mean, which is it? And then she knows so much about the girlfriend. I mean, okay, I'm not a parent, but if my ex-husband was introducing me to the new person in his life, and maybe he was going to be their she might have become their stepmom, wouldn't you want to know more about what's going on there?
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be her defense, because it does sound like she was kind of, stalking her a little, which is
stalkerish.
Yeah, that's, somewhat normal. Wonder if it was beyond that, as far as maybe a private investigator following them or whatever. But It's just kind of all over the place. So I keep asking myself, which is it? Like, which is it? It can't be all of those things. And let's see what Antoine says real quick. A lot of holes in this story. She unfollowed him on Facebook, but stalked his girlfriend to know what time she routinely goes to work. Well, there you go. That's right. Yeah. All right.
No, and I'm scared.
Now I'm scared.
We're back to being scared.
Have you had anything happen at your house?
No.
Nothing? And the information for Best Buy for the service tech that was there, that's at your house?
I'd be happy. I mean, if someone wants to
We'll
come back
get
with
that.
me.
We'll get that. And that was basically from when he came out there to serve, well, I guess to replace the
He
TV.
came out to fix it and then told me that what was wrong with it wasn't fixable.
Right.
And so I called Charlie to find out, should I buy a new one or should I fix this one? And he was like, just buy a new one. And
so he was like, just buy anyone. So can you imagine somebody, okay, so maybe she's just really overly attached to her family at 35 years old and she needs their input on every little detail of their life, right? So
I mean, the guy said it's not fixable, but she's got to call her brother and see if she should still try and fix it or buy a new one. Like, why are we calling?
Okay, so let's just go
She's
along
a 35-year-old single parent. What?
Right. So let's
go
pretend,
buy a new TV.
Yeah. Yeah. But let's just pretend what she's saying is true there. Now, take that and think, do you think if this family discusses everything, and we do know this from other records, like everything, especially if it concerns 2 cents, it's like, we got to talk about this money situation. So
who's supporting her?
So, well, let me ask you something though. Who do you think that, and she answered the question for us, but let's just, if she's that kind of person and that reliant dependent on her brother and mother and dad for things, do you think that she wouldn't have consulted them about conspiracy to murder? Like she would have just been out of the loop on that one particular thing?
Right. Or they would keep her out of the loop on that one thing.
They discuss
it's all there. It's all Charlie's plan.
Yeah. So that's where this dependent behavior, which I don't deny she has some of, but it just it doesn't quite really make sense.
It's so weird.
Yeah. Oh, and this is a good point too, Katie, because you're not real familiar so far with the case. You're getting there, but Antoine says, and this is interesting, what is the emotional abuse he sent her through? And I've often wondered that. Did she feel lesser because he wouldn't out-compete her? So they're both attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
She whines about the fact that she wrote a book, which was like horrible, and he wouldn't read it, but he did try to support her and he did tell, promote it and that kind of thing, but he wouldn't read it because it was literally trash. But it also foretold a lot of things that happen, which is so stupid. Yeah, it just gets better. You're just seeing the very first day. But to me, I felt like she fell, and her boyfriend at the time, who does get interviewed by the police, said that Dan was just treating her like she was a maid and cooking and cleaning and this and that, which is, of course, the story she gave him, right? And he even said, by the time I listened to everything she said, I couldn't stand the guy. I thought I'd like to punch, but was it true? And was it just that he was so intelligent and so bright and his future was so much maybe what she wanted to be looked at? Because she was no slouch in terms of intelligence and all that, but she was behind him. She was younger than him. He got her the job at the university, the teaching job. So I don't know. I mean, yeah.
He was tenured and she's not.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
Background. Yep.
And once he left, do you remember what time the serviceman left?
Probably around 10, 10 before 10. And then I left by 12.
Between that time, between 10 and 12, you were by yourself working on your papers and stuff.
Yeah.
Were you doing on papers or computer?
It was all on computer. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I sent some edits in to someone at the law library during that time.
Okay.
I called a few friends.
She said it was all on computer. That's what I was thinking about. And then she goes on to tell, so you were thinking about it? Like, what does that mean?
I sent some texts and all of that'll be
On the phone.
on the phone.
And all of that'll
So
be
you
on the
call from
phone.
your house phone.
I don't have a house phone.
Okay, use all-
But yet she
all
was
your
deleting
communications
messages.
over your-
Like all that'll be on the phone, but yet she's deleting messages. And did you hear her say that she deleted like one of his parents' numbers or whatever because they never talk? Oh,
Nice lady, huh?
I don't get it. Like, yeah.
Yeah. But, I
Yeah.
deleted them, but I didn't delete them so you can find them. Like, you can go do your busy work and chase after all the
Yeah.
crap. She also later on says that she deletes her calendars. That's just what she does. She's kind of OCD about it. I save all mine.
I've never.
No. What's the point? You just go on to the next day.
Yeah,
Are
it's
we-
gone. You don't go back and look.
Like, how do you delete your calendar? Like, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or oneself. All right. I'm going to introduce you to a victim advocate. She's going to be very helpful. And she's going to, once the phone comes back, she'll get the numbers for his folks. And you're saying everybody's in Canada. Is that correct? On his side of the family?
His family's.
Okay, Alberta,
No,
correct?
his mom and dad, his immediate family is in Toronto.
Okay.
His like aunts and uncles and cousins are all in Montreal. Everyone's English speaking. No family in the States, so all in Canada.
And that's where he's from originally.
He's from there. He came here for college and never left. So he's 41 and he's been here since he was 18.
Did he go to FSU for law school?
No,
Okay. Where did he go to law school?
Harvard.
Harvard, okay. And then he got a position as a professor.
We moved up here for his job.
So you were in New York too?
No. I've never lived in New York.
Oh.
I was actually at University of Miami going to law school. We met, we got engaged, and then I was going to do my last year of law school up here. So in 2005, we moved here. He was a professor and I was a student for one more year. And then we moved back to Miami for a year, and then we moved here for a year. The reason why I say his parents are going to say I did it is because after we got divorced, I wanted to move to South Florida. And I filed a petition to relocate in the court, and the court said no. So, so you can always leave, you just can't leave with your kids. So we're in Tallahassee because of Danny's job. So
He taught at UM before he came up?
Oh, something happened. Did you see that? Like, it's like somebody took over my keyboard. Okay. That was weird. Sorry about that, everyone. Let's go back.
okay.
But I didn't want you to
Much later.
I'm scared because I'm just gonna have.
Much later. By the way, interesting when he comes back after he took his phone, what he's asking her. He's
To make sure that she's continuing to get her story straight without it right in
certain
front of her.
information. Yeah, certain information. If I have one criticism, it's why did they let her go? Because she never
But that's
came
the
back.
last time I saw him. Because I saw him sitting.
Sorry about
seeing
that.
intermittent pictures of the kids.
Sorry about that, everyone.
Or that nobody
Oops. We're almost done with him.
before 10. And then I left. Like see intermittent pictures of the kids.
Okay.
During
Sorry, everyone.
Okay,
I called a few friends. I sent some texts, and all of that will be
on the phone.
on the phone.
Or you call from your house phone?
I don't have a house phone.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt here. All of that'll be on the phone. Honestly, I'm being interviewed. First of all, I'd still be at the hospital, so this wouldn't even be happening right now. But okay, so she chooses to get her story out right away and get him going in all these different directions. But
Mhm.
in all of I wouldn't be thinking, and all of that will be on the phone. I would say
No.
what I did, but I wouldn't say. But you'll be able to see that, like that alone is just so preemptive and so indicative that this was thought through.
Yeah, it's again, I feel like she's just setting up that alibi, like just continuing to show it's there. I know where I was. I wasn't a part of this.
For sure. But can you imagine saying you could do that, but not say, and in the proof is right here, right?
Right.
That's what I'm seeing. It's like she might as well be saying, and I've got proof of it because I have it on the phone and you can get those records in here. I'm being so cooperative and there's the phone.
And here's my receipts. Look. Like,
yeah.
Yes. Yep.
All the times and all that. Okay. Sorry about the
interruption.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Okay, you use all your communications is over your cell phone?
Yeah.
You have more than one cell phone?
Oh, we went backwards.
All right. I'm going to introduce you to a victim advocate. She's going to be very helpful. And she's going to, once the phone comes back, she'll get the numbers for his folks. And you're saying everybody's in Canada. Is that correct? On his side of the family?
His family's in Canada.
Okay, Alberta.
No, his mom and dad, his immediate family's in Toronto. His like aunts and uncles are in Montreal. That was supposed to be. And he families no in the States, so all in Canada.
That's where he's from originally.
He's from came here for college and never left. So he's 41 and he's been here since the
Did he go to FSU for law school?
No.
Okay. Where did he go to law school?
Harvard.
Harvard. Okay. And then he got a position as a professor.
We moved up here our first job.
So you were in New York too?
No, I never lived in New York. I was actually at University of Miami going to law school. We met, we got engaged, and then I was going to do my last year of law school up here. So in 2005, we moved here. He was a professor, and I was a student for one more year. And then we moved back to Miami for a year, and then we moved here for a year. The reason why I say his parents are going to say I did is because after we got divorced, I wanted to move to South Florida. And I filed a petition to relocate in the court. The court said no. So, like, I mean, so, you know what I mean?
The court said no.
So we're in Tallahassee.
That's everything right there.
So
He taught at UM before he came up?
Okay. I'm not doing that. Oh, I wonder if this is part of the video. Oh, this is part of Mentor.
Hey, this is Mentor.
Hi, Mentor Lawyer.
I'm
Okay,
just
sorry,
gonna be
guys.
Going off.
I was like, that's
driving
why I
home
backed it up
for dinner
because
with the kids.
because
So
I
I'll be
was
back later.
like,
I'll be back in the chat later. Enjoy the interrogation of Wendi Adelson, and don't forget to check out my
hi,
latest
Mentor.
post, which has a near replica to this shirt that she's wearing with some funny words together in there. And thanks Peter for one of the ideas
Oh, he's got some
for some of the words that I
merch.
use on the shirt. Anyway,
I forgot
let's
he
get back
popped
to
in.
it.
I thought someone was taking over my keyboard. It was like moving around. That's why I popped in. Sorry, everyone. We're back.
he didn't he had that year at FSU and then UM said they wanted to hire him, so I worked there for a year. He worked there for half a year. We commuted back and forth to FSU, and then UM didn't hire him, and so we moved back to FSU, and I've been here since like the 07 school year.
All right. I'm going to get the victim advocate, all right, and introduce you to her. And as soon as we get your phone back, I'll probably want you to show me some of those text messages. I know it's going to be on the record, but I may want to ask you that, and then we'll try to get everything expedited so you can be there when your kids get picked up from school.
Right, because the alternative would be like a police officer.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. I want you to come pick them up.
Instead of a police officer, if it can't be me, I'd rather it be like a family friend or something.
Well, we could do that too.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I
Yeah.
do not want, I think they'll get really scared.
No, all the officer's done is checked on your children and made
Okay.
sure they're at school. We just had to find out where they were and where you were. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'll be right back.
Okay. I can put my IDs away and.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I'm just going to pop in here and say, here we go with picking up the kids later after school, that kind of thing. But so she dropped the idea of taking them to going to the hospital completely. It's just gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gone out of her consciousness.
And she says they need to pick them up by 5, and he says they're going to be out of there in an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while we're waiting for a second, Antoine says she had to be a wife and take care of the house while her husband went out and got the professor money. So he could understand.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna come sit over here on this side if you don't mind. So I have to meet you under these circumstances.
I usually love real fun.
Right?
I'm gonna find some next of kin information on his parents.
Do you want their names?
Yes, that would be helpful.
His dad is Phil Markel.
And they're in Canada.
They're in Canada. They're in Toronto.
Toronto.
Most of the time.
Okay. His mom's name is Ruth Markel.
Are they married still?
They just got divorced. They're 70. They just got divorced after like 30 something years later.
And when you
They're still married.
Are they in good health? 70.
Yeah,
Right now?
they're really
As far as I know.
70.
But she's saying they
My
just got
dad's from
divorced.
70.
Yeah,
That's the first time she said that.
I just picked that up. Maybe they were separating. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But they're together now, as far as I know.
They're young and 70.
So they wouldn't live together.
I don't think they're living together. Truthfully, Danny and I got divorced in the last 2 years, and they separated in the last 2 years. So
Okay.
I'm fuzzy on the
And
details.
that's okay. And you were going through your thing, and they were probably going through theirs.
Yeah.
Anyone in the chat have any insight on this? I forgot about this too. I kind of just one of those things I didn't remember, but we've seen so much of Ruth Markel, and she's been coming out and speaking about this horrendous thing. She's written a book. Phil and Ruth are there for all the trials, and they're together, and their daughter Shelly, Dan's sister. So, I mean, it may be true, maybe not, but just out of curiosity. And Antoine, I will give you the answer to that StreamYard question shortly. I got you on that. No problem.
I have that skirt.
I have that skirt.
I'm usually more fun than this.
I'm way more fun than this. I have that skirt. This is a classic narcissist move, and there's a few more coming.
He has a sister that he's really close with.
Is she in Canada? What's her name?
Her name's Shelly Markel.
Is Shelly short for something?
It's not.
Okay. Is there an EY in there? Or is it
No, it's Shelly. I'm sure you do this all the time as your job, but like I cannot believe this is happening.
It's not a whole situation with you, and it's never easy or anything like that. So all your emotions and stuff you're feeling are okay right now.
They're so worried about my kids. I don't know how I'm gonna tell them what happened.
And you know,
They're so little.
and you know, it is difficult for little kids because they're such realities.
They love their dad. I'm sorry, you can ask me questions.
No, you're fine. Talk to me about what you want to talk about.
It's fine. I'll tell you what you
No, you're good though. Like, I want to be here for you too.
I just like I can't believe this is happening. I don't understand and I'm very scared because if this is gonna happen, like what if someone's gonna come after the kids? Like who did this and why would they do this?
And from what they're missing, they haven't had any indications of that.
Do you think someone can watch the house where I'm gonna be with the kids tonight to make sure that nobody comes after us?
We'll discuss kind of that type of stuff. I'm gonna make sure that they know all your concerns and fears.
Okay, so pause.
Okay, and I have something to add too. Go for it.
Like, where's all this sympathy for the kids coming in? It took her a full hour to ask about her kids to start with. And now somebody new comes in and it's all about how scared she is for her kids. Like, I feel like she's trying to gain sympathy from somebody new. And like, look at me, I'm such a great mom. I'm so scared for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird.
Well, yeah. And I mean, whether she was involved or not, she could be having these thoughts. One of the things, and it may be because this is the victim advocate, so now she feels like she can open up. But yeah, it's showtime, man. This is showtime.
Yeah.
I got that impression too. One of the things that was revealed when the person who was with the man who shot Dan Markel, who ended up pleading, getting a deal. He said he thought the idea was so ridiculous and horrible, and he actually had a conscience about it because he had children and whatnot. But he said he suggested that they just go rob Wendi instead of murdering Dan. So if you think about it, they're dealing with some people who are willing to shoot somebody for money. She could legitimately be afraid right now what's next.
Sure.
And evidently they knew her identity. There's that's up for debate a little bit, but just wanted to add that in there too. So some of this stuff, are they going to come to her house? And and Mazzy says Dan and Ruth are divorced.
Okay.
But they're together as far as supporting Dan and supporting one another, I think, regardless. Okay, thank you, Mazzy. And Antoine, it was at that moment when the interview switched, she realized she messed up. Yes. What do you think about that, Katie?
What does that mean?
There was a pivot. She has time to think about some of the things she might have said or done wrong in the previous hour. So we're into this by an hour and 18 minutes now. And we have about 15 more minutes for today's show.
So she's trying to correct with this person what she. Okay.
Aw, thank you, Antoine. If you're in the chat, thank you for dropping your like. Yes, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here, chatting. And hopefully you're watching because we're going to be doing this every Monday. Oh, and by the way, we did Tuesday again today because I had a cat hospital day yesterday all day. So yeah, so normally we'll be here on Mondays, and I think that's going to work out because there are other great channels that I've mentioned who do drop content, but I don't think we're stepping on anyone's toes with Mondays. If that's the case, please let me know because we can adjust that. So thank you. All right, let's keep going. That's really it. Again, if you're listening, Katie is not familiar with this case. I obviously am, for what it's worth. And so we're trying to get fresh eyes on this. And it's very interesting, Katie. What your thoughts are.
Right now. I know it's hard. I don't know how I'm going to tell them. You know, I can tell you this. I think it's going to be best coming from you, your mother, who seem very educated and put together. And it sounds like you've gone through a lot the past 2 years.
And the kids have been doing so well with everything. They're really happy, well-adjusted kids.
Can I just jump in real quick and mention, I don't know if you remember this earlier on, but she did ask the detective, is there somebody who can help me talk about how I'm going to break this to the children? She asked for that earlier on. Now that may be because she's familiar with the resources, but I wouldn't think I would be asking about that especially if this was a full-on surprise. To actually ahead of time ask for resources on how to break this to the kids.
And he's not dead.
And he's not dead yet. I'm sorry. They did say he might not make, he probably wasn't going to make it, or he wasn't going to make it. I don't even think they said probably, but yeah. So that also seems a little bit, oh man, how am I going to deal with this on my own? Her mothering skills seem a little bit, she needs her mom a lot with her mothering skills. She doesn't want Dan involved, despite her protestations that he's such a great guy. So a great father. So anyway, I just wanted to jump in with that. If anyone has any thoughts about what they would do if they were in this situation, would you be asking for help already to how to tell the kids about what happened?
Told people their life that
you all are doing the right thing.
And I get why I would be a suspect, but the idea that we were divorced, the idea that I would ever do anything is I understand why they need to check, but
I get why I would be a suspect. So now she's going from telling the kids to, I get why I'd be a suspect. I don't think innocent. Do you think innocent? Okay, chat. Okay, Katie, do you think innocent people say, I get why you suspect me?
No.
While you're being recorded and everything, man? I don't know. I also thought it was interesting that the advocate said, well, you seem like an educated, put together woman. I think you can handle telling your children, right?
Yeah.
So why is this such a problem?
And it's a victim advocate. So why is she bringing up that she's a suspect?
Yeah, she keeps saying she keeps thinking she's a suspect. Oh, here, and Antoine says the same thing. Why does she think she's a suspect? She was told several times that she wasn't. And she just said, I can see why. Again, we listen. I'm going through this tooth and comb because my thing is believe people when they say something.
Yeah.
Right? She knows she's a suspect. She should be. And she knew the children were safe, as Mazzy just mentions. So
I have kids and I have a husband. We're mostly happily married, but he was in a stupid car accident a month ago and he sent me a picture of it and it looked really bad. And he said, I'm not hurt. Everything's fine. I was able to find out within 2 minutes where it happened, not from him because he's busy with other things. And I got the kids in the car and we went to him.
Right.
Like the kids needed to know that he was okay. And I needed to know he was okay.
Right.
And I didn't want him sitting there dealing with it alone. So like, no, no, I wouldn't be worried about having to tell the kids. You just do it.
Right. You just do it. You don't talk about it.
No, you just
take care of these things. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very weird at best.
Yeah.
At very best.
Okay.
Oops. By the way, if anyone sees any bots in the chat, I grabbed one and blocked it. Just hit the 3 little buttons on the top right and click the bot. Click the block button on the bot.
I don't know who would though. I don't know who would do this. I can see why they would think it would be me.
Again.
I don't think, and did Investigator Eisen talk to you at all about like what your role is in this?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
And a lot of times they do stuff just to kind of cancel you out too.
It's fine. I understand. Okay. I understand. I just can't believe this is happening. So I do best with being helpful. So why don't you tell me what I can do to help you?
Okay. Well, give me the parents' names. I know you probably, if you have any of their phone numbers, I know you don't right now, probably from memory either.
It's in my phone.
Right.
I don't remember them.
So we'll wait for.
They lived in Toronto, and I didn't have a really close relationship with them before the divorce.
Okay.
And after the divorce, it's been, I've sent his sister like happy birthday messages, but it's not close. So I
Right, you didn't have a reason to really have communication with them, and that's okay.
Okay, so other than their names.
Right, that's probably all you really.
No, I'm asking like, what can I do?
Let's see. You can, worry about you and your boys. Start thinking who would be someone that you want here for you that's here in Tallahassee now.
What do you mean here for me? Like for what?
For support for you. Because you're gonna have to go.
I'd really like my family to come.
Okay.
They're not here, but
where are they located?
I'm just so upset right now that I'm worried about parenting effectively. So if my parents were here, they could help me. They're really close with the kids, so they could help me. I feel like you and I look a little bit alike. Do you see this as you're looking at my face?
What? Where did that just come from?
Well, she was starting to talk about her parents and it got a little uncomfortable, right? And then that was narcissist number 2. I like your skirt. Oh, you look a lot like me. Okay. All right.
Okay. And I'm worried about parenting effectively. That's not something that would ever cross my mind. Well, you just do it.
Not only that, but it certainly wouldn't be so quickly, would it?
No.
Like
I need my mom here to make sure I'm being a good parent.
Yeah, her mom.
It's so weird.
But I feel like, anyway, it's like looking at my sister with similar hair.
You look my sister.
I must look awesome right now, but when I'm not in crisis, I'd really like my parents to be here and help me with the kids.
And so for my information, what are your parents' names?
I feel like I should be the one to tell them.
No, I don't want, I'm not gonna go tell them, I'm just more of, as,
Who's
you know, this
with
time goes on, right, when you're referring to people, I wanna know. who you're-
Sure. My parents' names are Donna and Harvey Adelson.
Interesting time to cough. My mom's name is Donna and Harvey Adelson. That's the first cough.
And did you say they were in Florida?
They are. They're splitting. They're sort of in the process of retiring.
Okay.
I mean, semi.
Mhm.
So they work together. They're super happy and in love. 40+ years in. So they like live in Coral Springs for part of the week and then in Miami for part of the week. So today is Friday and they're in Miami.
Okay, so then, is Miami like their weekend home like for them?
My brother Charlie got this place for them to sort of have them try living in Miami. So sometimes on the weekends they all hang out together. So they'll be there.
And like I said, I'm not gonna notify your parents or anything like that, I was just, like I said, getting that more of just so.
For future, yeah.
Okay, it just struck me that she's very sure of where her parents are. There's no doubt that's where they are. This is the day, it's not like, let's see, okay, it's Friday, no inner dialogue. I have to think about this. Boom, this is where my parents are. She knows exactly. Very confident about that one thing.
And do you have anyone in Tallahassee that you consider your go-to person here?
I have a lot of, I'm not saying this to be bragging.
A lot of friends.
Yeah, and by the way, she asked Tallahassee. She asked for somebody in Tallahassee, and she went right to her parents in Miami, which is a good distance away. Initially, the question wasn't, "Where's your family?" It was, "Do you have somebody here in Tallahassee?"
Yeah, that can be here for you.
Yeah, because she seems to be so concerned about parenting now, right?
Good network. I do. The person who feels most like family is my friend Lynn.
Lynn? Okay.
She's just a bit older than me, and I'm very close.
Why are
to
we
the family. She's
describing
got
your
kids,
friend?
and I'm kind of like an aunt to the twin girls. I'd really love for Lynn to be around.
Okay. What's Lynn's last name?
Grossman.
I'd love for Lynn to be around.
Not be here with me.
Not here, not there when I pick up the boys. Just, I'd love for her to be around.
And,
I don't know.
And okay, if you were in this situation, they said, if there's somebody that could be here to support you, like Dawn, if there's somebody that could be there to support you all day yesterday for Tasha's, who would it be?
Right.
And you would have somebody in your brain immediately.
Right.
Right?
Well, if I were under this kind of stress and somebody was just shot, I might have to go, okay, let's call, but I might not be like, the fact that she was so prepared with her parents, it was like, she thought this part through. It would appear that she thought this part through. Maybe.
Yeah. I just, I think if I'm in this situation, it's easy because my family is in the same city as me. So it'd be instant, my sister.
Right.
But even, okay, if they weren't, I have a best friend. I have that one friend that I know I could call in for anything and everything at any moment. Call this person,
true.
She'll be here.
Yeah.
This
I'd
is a
be like,
person
okay,
that,
let's call Melinda. Let's call Sherry if Melinda's not. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
If she's not answering.
But she has to be like, well, I have so many friends. I don't want to be like that. I have so many friends. And this person just feels like such a sister to me.
Oh yeah,
and she's just so wonderful. I'm not going to sit there and describe my friend. I'm going to say, I need this person.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Okay. Anyway, that's so weird.
And this thing about around struck me.
I want her to be around.
Yeah, that was odd to me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This whole thing is.
Yeah.
The sniffing.
She lives right
For
down,
dramatic effect.
really close to me.
What are your two boys' names? I know.
My older son is turning 5 on the 29th. His name's Ben.
Okay, so 3 and 5, Katie, strong enough to break a television screen? 3 and
Yes.
5.
The
Yes.
5 definitely. Because, well, I guess I
Boy,
don't know what
Mom.
happened to theirs, but my 5, yeah, I think it was actually 4 at the time,
Okay.
was playing with a toy, and it
Yeah.
was a sword. So we're fighting
Okay.
with a sword, and we accidentally let it go, and it went flying and hit the TV. So
Oh.
yes,
Okay, I was curious. I'm not a boy mom, so I wouldn't.
I don't know what her story is though. Like how did they break it?
She didn't say.
Okay.
I want to know. That's for some reason that one's sticking with me.
Okay.
Who broke the TV and how?
Yeah.
Need to start making arrangements as far as if he wants to maybe pick your kids up and take them home, that type of thing. So Sarah can, if you want to figure that out, just because I think you.
So someone else is in the room.
Pick up about 5 or so.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So something to just
Okay,
think
okay,
about what we
thank
might
you.
get on.
What should we do about that?
What do you think would be? Do you have any? 'Cause you probably have. They're younger, right? So probably
They're 3.5 and 5.
So they probably
They're
started
in
on
car
boosters.
seats.
Okay.
They're in car seats. I am in shock right now, so I could probably be functional to like drive
can
a
help.
car.
Well, I can help with kind of that type of stuff. Do you have a friend? Do you want?
I mean, I would, if Lynn is here, I don't know if she's in town. It's Friday.
Yes.
I don't know if she's in town this weekend. If she is,
But she knew her
So-
parents were.
Yes.
Mhm.
Wait,
She knew
today
exactly where they were.
is Friday, so
Oh, it's Friday. Okay. Yeah, that's how a normal person would answer that question. Not my parents aren't me. My brother gave him this house and blah, blah, blah. Dude, prepare much? Now, I don't deny. What do you guys think? I mean, what do you think, Kate? Do you think she could? I think she could legitimately be in shock.
yes,
Even if she was involved.
yes.
And
It's
Maggie
shocked
said,
that it actually happened, or
yep. And Mazzy says she's worried about parenting effectively. Wow. Yeah. Wow. And therein lies the problem, right? We might come to find out later.
I mean, I already know I'm going to send my kids to therapy, so who knows for what reason. So parenting effectively has never been.
Parents, I mean, everybody does what they can,
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
so weird.
And Mazzy also mentions, that Charlie is mentioned again. Every chance she get. Do you think she's throwing Charlie under the bus? A little with all this. It was the
little.
first thing out of her mouth. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're almost to our. So we'll go to. I think we started at 3:39. This seems like an eternity. 3:39, so 3:59. Oh wait, we went too far. Did we go too far? 3:59. Yeah, we've gone a little too far. So let's pause here at 4:09:16. I'm right. I gotta write this down.
So sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The person had asked, "So what's your boy's name?" She never told her.
This one, she did say she only
She's
when
like, well, he's almost 5, and then she went off on some other tangent.
Yeah.
I never caught the boys' names, and then that other person walked in, and we never went back to it.
Right. Was that just a minute ago?
Yeah, I just think that's weird too. Like,
I didn't pick up
I mean,
on
you
that.
asked me what my kids' names are. I'm just going to tell you these are my kids' names. I don't think I'll tell you ages and.
Right.
I don't know.
When she was speaking with the detective, he wanted their birth dates and names earlier on. But yeah, she didn't say just now again.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, because it's about her, isn't it? It's all about her.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so we started at 3:39, so 30 minutes would be 3:69. So 09. Okay, so we've got like 1 minute left. I had to do my best. Like,
Perfect. Yep.
It was right down, really close to me.
What are your two boys' names? I know.
My older son is turning 5 on the 29th. His name's Benjamin.
His name's Benjamin.
It's about
Okay.
4, so I know we're gonna need to start making
Because she got interrupted.
arrangements.
Got
as
it.
far as If you want somebody to pick your kids up and take them home, that type of thing, so Sarah can, if you wanna figure that out, just because I think he said that they had to be picked up by about 5 or so.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
so something to just
Okay,
think about what we
thank
want
you.
to get on.
What should we do about that?
What should I do about that? Like,
Yeah, that's weird too.
if I thought that was weird, it's like, you're the mom. What you're asking her, what should I do about that? To me, this is a sign that she's trying to ingratiate herself with this person and
Mhm.
and play the victim.
And you're my friend that's here. You're the one who has to support me.
That's right. It's your job. You're the surrogate. But even with a surrogate for emotional support, I wouldn't give up what happens to my children that quickly.
No.
They're younger, right? So probably
They're 3.5 and 5.
So they probably
They're
started
in car seats.
Okay.
They're in car seats. I am in shock right now, so I could probably be functional to like drive
can
a
help.
car.
Well, I can help with kind of that type of stuff. Do you have a friend do you want?
I mean, I would, if Lynn is here, I don't know if she's in town. It's Friday.
Yes.
I don't know if she's in town this weekend. If she is, I would love for her to be with
Lynn would be
me.
your person? Okay.
Yeah,
And then if Lynn's not, do you have a kind of backup person you think?
I do. I have a lot of friends who have kids, so they have their own responsibilities. My friend Jane, who actually I think used to be a victim.
Okay.
Jane would be a really good choice. Jane McPherson.
What'd you just say? My friend what? That used to be what?
Her friend Jane used to be a victim advocate.
Okay.
So, isn't that funny? So funny. Wendy's funny.
And I might be able to get these numbers, but
Because she doesn't have kids, it's all on my phone.
Okay, and it's okay. I know I don't have anything memorized either.
Other close friends that I would have be with me right now. I have this really close friend whose husband died last year, who was a kid, and we spent a lot of time together, so she'd understand, but I don't want to do that to her.
Okay.
Well,
and I think maybe between Lynn and Jane,
hopefully one of them.
Okay.
Oh, she might be traveling. It's just summer, people are traveling all the time.
I understand.
Who else might be here?
What do you think Lynn and Jane will be kind of a good start?
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go check and see how long on your phone.
Okay, so this is a great pause point. 4:10, 32 seconds in Tallahassee time on July 18th, 2014. And welcome, Sophia. Don't worry about being late. You can replay from the beginning if you like. So we've gone through the initial interview. I'm calling this interrogation, but it ends up she becomes a names conspirator. So I don't think that's too much of a, but at the time it was probably just considered an interview, even though she continually wonders why she's a suspect, even though she was continually told that she wasn't a suspect at the time. So, and then we get to the victim's advocate, and now we're talking about details about picking up the kids and that kind of thing. So a lot of interesting stuff here, don't you think, Katie?
Yeah, I still think the most interesting thing you pointed out is like, she knew instantly where her parents were. But then when we're talking about friends, wait, what day is it again?
Right.
That's so weird. Like the planning, the details and the planning.
Yes. How long do you think it would take to plan something like this and then execute it? So maybe a year, 6 months, something like that.
Yeah, 3 to 6 months, I'd say.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
interesting. Well, so we're here just kind of looking at this with a fine-tooth comb, just letting, giving our impressions of how this is going. It's interesting what questions they ask. Neither Katie nor I are professional. We're not in the legal field. We're not body language experts. I do have some really cool tools that I use about from some charts that Chase Hughes put out. So if you go to chasehughes.com, you can look at those tools too. But a lot of it is establishing what I'm looking at is when does she seem like she's telling the truth and all the details? And, sometimes I use my hands too, but there are times when she's not using her hands at all. It's just all up in the head. So that can indicate that it was like from memory or practiced or thought about in advance. So really appreciate you all being here today. And we are going to come back again Monday and to do the next 30-minute section. Hopefully I'll do my math. So we'll go from 4:10 to 4:40 next time. And I'll see if I can do some more shorts and pull out some of the gems. Because this case it's just so sad because so many children were involved, not just Dan and Wendy's boys, but the ones that were children of the hitman and another co-conspirators. They're in jail for life, prison for life. Charlie, the brother, has a kid, so a lot of families were affected. So this is serious stuff. We're not we're not laughing about this. Sometimes we do laugh, but it's very serious and very sad and heavy. I'm glad you're going to be here next Monday. So we go on noon Pacific time, barring any kitty hospital, but that's not going to happen. It's not an emergency. Mazzy says something interesting because I think about this. Mazzy says, I agree. Wendi was coached too well, in my opinion. So do you think, and Antoine has brought this up too, there's coaching, which by the way, lawyers are not, they're not allowed to coach. Okay. On the stand. We're not talking about testimony here, but the word coached is interesting choice of words. So do you mean coached or do you mean she rehearsed it? And if she was coached, who was she being coached by? Who do you think would know as a lawyer herself? Who would know what to rehearse, how it would go down? Would you think she rehearsed with her family? So there's coached and rehearsing. And coaching implies one thing that goes on between a lawyer and a client. So what do you think about that, Katie? Do you think rehearsing?
Yeah, I think it's more rehearsing. And I think it's with mom and brother based on what you told me.
Okay.
Because like you said, when she's asked the questions that she knows the answers to, she can get those details and the hands and the looking up and she knows that. But the second you ask her an off question or like an off that she wasn't prepared for, such as what friend do you want to be here with you, then we have to stop and think and pause and actually make like a real human.
Right. Make like a real human. That's right. Pretending to be a real human.
Instead of a robot.
A Stepford wife. A lot of people have used that terminology with her. Yeah, I just was like, she sure doesn't look very put together for lunch with a friend. Now, she claims it was last minute, but still, for somebody who cares so much about her appearance and her blue eyes and all of that, her fake blue eyes, contact lenses, I guess she was able to pop those in. But yeah, her mugshot, it's not a mugshot, but the photograph of her is just like, oh my gosh, woman, you would have at least put some lipstick on, at least. So Sophia says she might have been coached by some big people as look at her family friends are judges and lawyers, right? So that would mean she has there's more involved in the conspiracy than we know, which is certainly plausible. Coached, advised, yeah. And then Antoine says, have you heard Donna's emails? She writes speeches comparable to Hitler. Yeah, Charlie actually mentioned something like going at something like Hitler would. This is a Jewish family, kind of interesting. Good interview. It just isn't about questions, but body language and intuition, body language. And yeah, it's not just about what she says, but also how she's saying it. And the little I know about body language from following the behavior panel, and they're just awesome. And Chase Hughes and all four of those guys, real experts in body language, is we have to understand someone's baseline before we can know whether they're deviating, because some people might, like talk with their hands all the time like I do or whatever. And I don't deny that she does. But since this is the very first encounter that the public has with this woman, and then later there's testimony, we can then, once you build on the interrogation compared to how she responded and used her body language when she was testifying, it becomes very interesting. Like, for example, one of the things I noticed in her testimony is usually when somebody looks to the right, it's because this is usually, again, when they're looking to the right, especially if it's downward to the right, they're accessing emotions. When they're looking to the left and downward, it's usually that they're accessing facts, information, or memory.
Interesting.
Or memory, because that can be. Now, the thing with her that I found really hard to tell, because she rehearses so much, it appears, is you can know to do these things.
Sure.
But everyone slips up here and there. So there are times when she's looking up to the right and then she's looking up to the left, which is like, wait a minute, you just looked up to the right and now you're looking up to the left for this answer. So those are the kinds of things that you notice could be important to look at. And so she does once in a while. But even with the testimony, as time goes on, she seems more and more and more polished in her answers and practiced. Yeah.
Did she ever do a lie detector?
No worries about the typos. So what happened is that she did this interview and she's like, oh yeah, just call me anytime. Of course they had the memorial shortly after, as is customary for his religion. And the family, the Madonna and Harvey were there that night. As you'll see later on, they agree to come down because you hear her speaking to her parents coming soon. You want to stay tuned for that from the interrogation room. And the next thing you know, they're in Miami like 3 days later, and the police are not able to speak to them again, ever. Only the lawyer, which she should have had here.
Happened to start, yes, but okay.
I got the impression that she felt so comfortable and so rehearsed, and I know what's going to happen. I can handle this. I can do this. You can tell at times she's like thinking, maybe I shouldn't have done this, but that she really wanted to appear cooperative, which a lot of people do. Just because somebody cooperates and agrees to an interrogation, that doesn't mean they're innocent. They want to, right? And it just means they're dumb. It just means they're dumb. She wants to appear cooperative rather than calling a lawyer. But the second that her parents are down there and the memorial's over, she's not speaking at all to any police officers, even at the memorial, which of course they were at watching. They couldn't get her to cooperate at all.
But they have been able to question her on trial. And that's the only time you hear from her.
yeah, she's been subpoenaed, and she did come. She did have some immunity, but not immunity, not any great immunity. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's lawyered up now, and her lawyer's out here watching people's comments and such too. But hey, this is YouTube, and we can all share our opinions. We get to share our opinions. So yeah, so interesting. Some comments. Yeah, and Antoine says, yeah, it would look incriminating if she had a lawyer. But guess what? If you're a lawyer, it wouldn't. It would look lawyerly, and she's a lawyer.
And based on all of the true crime stuff that we've heard
Yes,
in the last 3 to 5 years, you better have a lawyer.
100%.
If you go to anything to talk about anything, you better have a lawyer.
I agree. I think so too. I've been thinking about this. Police come to your door. You have rights. There are so many times that people just give up their right. You don't have to speak to anybody. You don't have to. I mean, I'm always like, "What's up?"
Yes.
You don't want to do that. Anything you say, well, even anything you say here can be, brought up in any court of law. So,
Yes.
yeah. So, yeah, and Sophia reminds us that she was planning this she believes that she was planning from more than 1 year. Okay, so, and she already had her bags packed. They didn't just have the bags packed, but they basically moved out. The moving truck was there, and people were like, "What is going on?" Yeah. So
if I need one other thing explained, if she is a conspirator and her mom is a conspirator, how in God's earth do they have custody of the children?
Because they haven't been charged yet. They've only been named.
Okay. That's insane to me.
It's awful.
Even if you haven't been named, like you've been named, not a suspect, but we're pretty sure you're involved. Pretty sure those kids should be with Dan's family, right?
Yeah, especially if you've met the two different families. Like, it's like, who would you want your children with? If yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes. So yeah, some great conversation going on in the live chat. I'm trying to keep up with both things going on at once, but yeah, it's just, I'm really happy you're all here. Please make sure you're sharing that I'm doing this, because I love hearing from you and everybody else. Because I don't want to be like, the one thing I don't ever like to do is think, well, I think this. I just want to get people who think like me. I mean, it's kind of obvious in this case, and it's fun, but it's not always obvious. And this isn't the only interrogation and material that I want to look at. I'd love to just keep doing this with other cases too. It's mind-boggling that this is all stems from just, I want to bring, and this is what the state of Florida is contending. Okay, so it's not me saying this. I want to bring my kids to Miami. My dad doesn't want this. This is a custody situation. It's not really even custody. They're like, she laughed about, well, they said you can go, but I can't bring the kids. Right. Well, that other trial that's going on right now, and I can't even watch it. It's the Wagner. They murdered like 9 different people in Ohio. They murdered an entire family over custody of a baby. Like, man, it's this family court stuff, which is what Judy, the YouTube lawyers, that's her expertise, can really get out of hand. It's really quite something. I mean, I know it's an important issue. Your children are everything, but come on. This is really, it seems to be a pattern. So, yeah. So there we have it. 4:10 p.m., July 18th, 2014. And Dan is in the hospital fighting for his life. I couldn't, as with most cases, I can't listen to the autopsy or the medical examiner stuff. So I don't know if he could feel things, if he could hear things. I mean, I'm guessing he couldn't, but I don't know that either for sure. So, and as always, thank you to Mentor Lawyer, Deep Dive, True Crime. You can see over here on the bottom left for providing this interrogation from start to finish instead of little clips. It's really awesome that we can do this. And we do have his blessing on this, and it was fun. You got to see his face. So make sure you're following Judy and him. And oh, yeah. So Antoine says he is taking a family law course to be a paralegal, and it's interesting what people would do.
It's heartbreaking.
It
It's
is.
so heartbreaking.
It is.
I have a couple friends that are going through divorces, and what the parents will do to the other parents just to get retribution. And it makes me sick because both parents are good parents, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's garbage.
It's
such
garbage.
a mess.
Yeah, it's a real ugly part of human nature, right? That we're seeing.
Yeah. What they will do just for money too is just, it's just ugly. I
didn't have children, but I did go through a divorce, and I was shocked at how nasty the guy got with me. It was like, okay. But I'm of the attitude, like, okay, I just walk away. Like, I left with the clothes on my back. It's like, I'll deal with this later. And then I got my dog as soon as I could. But you want to fight me for that? Okay, you have it. Like, I'm just not a fighter, and but if I had kids, it might be a different story because it's their futures.
Yeah. In most states, unfortunately, it's mom first, and
right.
So that's like I have one friend, both the divorces, it's the dads that are trying to fight for custody of their kids.
Right.
And the fights that they have to go through, because if they get that custody, then the mom no longer gets the child support.
That.
Or if dad gets custody, then mom no longer gets the sympathy of being a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not what's best for the kids, it's what's best for me. And it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
it's just
so sad.
And the dads are great parents. The dads should absolutely have the 50-50,
right.
But because of selfish people.
That's so sad. Sometimes I feel like there needs to be like a cooling off period before they go to, start. Because so that people can think it through before they do things. Here's an interesting thing that Sophia said, and she said, I'm very disappointed with the Tally police, Tally short for Tallahassee.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like for you to say why. I think I know why you're saying that. I mean, obviously, they had enough right there, I would think, to at least make sure she didn't leave town without breaking the law. But tell us, Sophia, what you think they could have done differently in this case, because I agree. It's like, how did they let her just slip through their hands? Because I say this all the time, but this is July of 2014. We are now November of 2022. And Charlie finally was arrested, but Donna and Wendi were named co-conspirators, or conspirators, actually. I don't know if it was co, but they're not arrested yet. And the other folks, are prison for life. Boom. So it's maddening to say the least. But I'd love for you to. I think they dropped the ball. I think that maybe her charm offensive won a little bit. Oh, she's fine. She's a lawyer. She knows the law. She's not gonna do anything stupid. She's not. She's cooperating. Did they fall? Do you think they fell for her charm offensive and what she was saying? And thought that, okay, well, we'll let her go through the memorial, let the family deal with this, and we'll have them in on Monday. We'll talk to them again on Monday. Like, she was on her way to Miami by the time they called her. It was so fast. So fast. They got those boys out of town. So, yeah, it's a very expensive to fight any legal battle, but yeah, family court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you, And legally, Antoine says Georgia is laying in while Sophia gets a minute to answer if she wants to. Oh, here we go. Here she answers. Because the Tallahassee police didn't check with the Stock the Bar party people, did they ask her to bring bullet bourbon? So a lot of people, there's a lot of symbolism that happened in this case. It may or may not mean anything. So she's wearing this owl t-shirt with the owl printed on it. Owl is symbolic for portending death. One of the hitmen posted a picture of the owl that the night before it was either the night of or the night before they murdered Dan. She said she was buying bourbon. It came out to be bullet bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
There was just a lot. And then there's another the TV ended up perhaps, let us know what you think, being code for something else.
Okay.
So that when they were phone tapped, wiretapped, and they knew they were likely, they were speaking in code. I still think a lot of things up until that day were on either Snapchat and or a burner phone. So even if they got that previous records, which they didn't, and they couldn't, because they didn't arrest her, they couldn't get a warrant until many years later. Then, so things would have been long gone or much harder to get. They did get a lot though, wiretaps, phone records, and things like that. Yes, and WhatsApp, is encrypted, so it's hard to get data from there. That is true. And so Sophia says she feels let down by the Tallahassee police. First of all, because they didn't check with the bar people. So her alibi, remember, for going to Trescott was that she was going to this liquor store for this Stock the Bar party. And they told her to get bourbon. And I don't know anything about bourbon. I've never bought bourbon before. And so I was asking him what kind to get. So I was also thinking, did they speak to the dude at the liquor store who theoretically was enchanted with her blue contact lenses about whether she asked him what kind of bourbon to get or not? And that could have all been naturally bullet bourbon's going to come up because it's a good bourbon and it's mid-priced. It's not like over the top expensive, but it's a pretty popular one. So even if she did ask him, naturally that one's going to come out. I personally, the owl shirt and the bullet bourbon, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, that's a thing for sure, but it's not something they're going to be prosecuting on. So, but it's creepy. It's really, there's a lot of creepiness to it. So
yes.
Okay. And so Sophia says, and she's answering Antoine, but we'll put it up here so everyone can hear it. There's another case in another country, and I do this because the live chat disappears for a while until I repost the video, so it's gone for a couple days. So anyway, there's a case in another country. Police in that country found all the messages and calls and pics and deleted videos, and I'm guessing does that include WhatsApp, Sophia? And other countries do things differently, unfortunately, and that is disappointing for sure. That we can't seem to, because people who are committing crime know to use WhatsApp. It's a known thing in the United States. And burner phones. So, yeah. All right, everyone. Well, gosh, thank you again, everyone, for being here. And Katie, if you will just hold on 1 second while I say goodbye, I'll do our little and if you think of it right now, live chatters, out of today's sessions, if I were to do some shorts, what nuggets did you like the best? I'd love to hear from that. And if the live chat goes away, just leave in the comments. And we'll see you Monday at noon, everyone. It was so great to be with you and appreciate your input and chat. And we'll see you soon. Thanks again, Katie.
Bye.